had a chance when I was at Johnson Controls. I had a chance to work with a company right down the street there, Freudenberg and OK. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. They were really good at lean, and we were becoming good pretty fast. So my friend there, Gary, and we shared all the time. We should always go down this Toyota production system journey with another partner. So if you're in the hospital, Sarah here's from Title2. You guys should make some connections, especially if you're in similar areas, because you can learn a lot from each other. Freudenberg made little rubber grommets for the same customers that we made seats for. We didn't compete, so everything they did, we sent some of our lean coaches to see. And whatever we did, they brought people over to see us too. So he said, Steve, there's a company, and I'll have to use a different name for them because I'll be kind of using them throughout here, but I'll call the company Takasui. Takasui is a group of Japanese ex-plant managers from Toyota. They're $50,000 for a Kaizen event 1 week, and they're worth every penny. He said, have you ever seen Takasui? I said, no. God bless you. He said, no, it's the name of the company. I said, well, no, I've never seen him. He said, Steve, you've got to see him. This guy's dynamite. His name's Koji. He's the best I've ever seen at this. I said, well, great. Where's he going to be? He said, well, he's in our plant in Indiana. I said, well, I can drive there. Just outside Indiana. He says, right, just make sure you're there early Monday to see the show. You know what that meant. So I'm kind of sitting there. I got there early, and it's one of those big, long conference tables, if you imagine, the big executive boardroom that's inside of typically the front of every factory. And I'm kind of sitting there, and I'm half falling asleep, because it's real early in the morning. And the plant mangler, he's walking back and forth in front of the PowerPoint projector, and he's all nervous and everything, and the donut smell is wafting, towards you. And this limousine pulls up. That's a totally different story. And this skinny Japanese gentleman hops out. He's got his briefcase, and he starts heading for the factory. And so I can see the plant mangler is kind of walking back and forth as we watched him come in out the window. The administrative person is trying to get Koji to go inside the room, and he's shaking his head. No, he's not buying this. He takes off past the entrance to the room. He's heading for the factory. And the plant manager says, don't just sit there. Everybody follow him. He's all mad now. So just like mother duck and baby ducks, everyone gets in line, and we all got in the aisle. We headed for Koji. Koji's heading for the factory. He opens up the big double doors, and he stops. And all the baby ducks go bloop, 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 inside. I'm the fourth duck in the row, and Koji's kind of standing there looking at this factory. The plant mangler warmed up to the front, and he starts spouting all the good stuff. You know what was on the PowerPoint slides? He said, have you seen that quality flag, Koji, as you came in? I won that quality flag. That's my quality flag out there. Won that on my watch. He said, my factory is one of the biggest and best around here, and we have so many hundreds of people that work here, and we have so many hundreds and thousands of square feet here. He says, this is my factory. He says, did I tell you that Boy Scouts meet in our front lobby? He had all this stuff that was good, but that's not why Koji was there. Koji said in the thickest Japanese accent I'd heard, he said these words. He says, where is factory? He's staring at the factory, and he's asking the plant manager where it is. You could just see the guy deflate. $50,000 for this. So he gets up, and remember, in America where we don't think people understand us, what is it that we do?
We talk
slower and louder, as if somehow that helps, translation. So he says, Koji, he says, this is my factory. This is where we work. It's so many hundreds of square feet, so many, tens of thousands of square feet, so many hundreds of workers. He says real loud, this is my factory. Koji said, as if he didn't even hear him, where is factory? How patient would your boss be at this moment? So it kind of went like this. In Japanese word, when they say the word height, this does not mean they agree. It sometimes just means they heard you. And the conversation went like this. The plant mangler said, Koji, do you see that corner here? Height. All the way to that corner? Height. He says, behind these racks, this is all raw materials. This is raw materials. He says, do you see that corner back there? Height. He says, from that corner to this corner behind those racks, he says, that's all my rubber molding machines. This is all work in process. WIP. This is work in process. He says, do you see that corner there? Height. He says, behind these racks, he says, that's my final assembly line. This is all finished goods inventory. He said, that's a truck. Vroom, vroom, bye-bye. Back to here. So many hundreds of people work here, so many hundreds of thousands of square feet. This is my factory. Koji said, where is factory? I thought the guy was going to cry. He said, Koji, I keep telling you over and over that this is my factory. You don't believe me. Koji dropped the accent. He said, I see no factory. I see big warehouse, and poked his finger. You're not very good. Now, where I stood, I thought, he's right. Where I stood and where Koji stood, he couldn't see one single person or machine adding value. The only thing he could see, 80%, the entire guts of this factory, was from floor to ceiling, rack after rack after rack of dead, decaying, dying inventory, which is a form of waste. What he saw was fork truck drivers with nothing on their forks, wandering aimlessly through the plants, and some of them sleeping, waiting to be told what to do. What he saw was actually a really poorly run warehouse. He was telling the truth. Later on that night, by the way, Japanese style karaoke, great dinner, Japanese style karaoke. It is not supposed to be an American Idol competition. It's supposed to be funny, because your friends and their stuff, they pick the song for you. So I'm up there, I don't know what I was saying. You make me feel like a natural woman. I had one of those things going, saki's coming out of his nose. It was so funny. So I get back to the room, and Takanaka, or the Koji, had said to me, he says, Steve-san, he says, you funny guy, he says, I teach you something. He says, you want to be TPS, Total Production System, Toyota Production System, they don't call it lean. You want to be TPS facilitator? I said, yes. It's all I've got. It's all I want to do. He says, you funny guys, I teach you something. Very technical Toyota Production System tool. I said, okay. He took the plant layout later on that evening, back there in the lobby of the hotel, and he grabs a yellow highlighter, and he highlights around every single piece of value-added equipment. He makes a ring around it and highlights it in yellow. And he stood back, he said, I call this TPS tool the squint test. I said, squint test? He said, you squint with your eyes. So I'm squinting, and he's squinting, and Saki's kicking in. Finally I said, what am I looking for? And he looks at me like I'm a total moron. He said, yellow. Do you get it? What's he trying to get me to size up on this plant layout? The percentage of floor space that was value added. He said the words. He says, there's no magic number, but he said these words for this factory. He said, until this factory is over 75% yellow, he says, we have nothing but lousy warehouse. And he threw the pen down. I learned from this the first thing. Everything that Toyota is doing is in the form of, its measurement of effectiveness is percent value added. You remember your value stream maps, right? Why do you spend so much time doing this? The percentage of time is value added. Not picking on them, but 380 hours and only 3 are value added, right? Remember the pie chart for today? Percentage of your day, which is value added. Remember that almost everything we've done, percentage of the floor space, which is value added. You guys work in healthcare. You should be using the percentage of your cubic space that you're using, which is used for value added. I had to karaoke for this. You guys got this. You owe me one karaoke.